What's up, my people? Today I want to talk about Peter Schiff. That's right. He's America's 1%, meaning that he is involved in 1% of the population that possesses 99% of the wealth. Now, Peter Schiff, he's a pretty intelligent guy in some aspects. He's an advocate for precious metals just like me, particularly silver, I like. But he actually sells those things on his website, and he has a podcast, and he's very vocal on Twitter about his economic and political beliefs. Now, this isn't a video to basically say that I hate Peter or anything like that. There's something to love, there's something to hate about everybody in this world. And I'm actually a fan of his podcast, to be honest with you. Just certain times and certain things he says irk me, and this is one of those situations. So, Peter, if you see this, understand that despite me being a fan, I do have a bone to pick with you. I'm gonna share it with you right now. So I speak on behalf of all service providers, all right, when I tell you this. Now let's read the tweet that got me feeling this way. So it says, by the way, this was posted 6/7/24. I didn't get a chance to post on this. I've been a little sick lately, but your boy's feeling better now, thank God. So Peter said, my wife took my son, my 10-year-old, to the barbershop in Connecticut for a haircut. Not a salon, but an old-fashioned men's barbershop, including the tip. The cut cost was $70. When I was in high school, I remember being apprehensive about spending $10 on a haircut in a fancy Manhattan salon. So there was also this that came up. Somebody named Carl B. Menger responded and said, of course, prices were cheaper 100 years ago. Be grateful for the diapers, old pal. So, being pretty rude and funny at the same time. And Peter responded and said, that was in the 1970s, so less than 50 years ago. So they're going back and forth about the situation. So here's my opinion on it, all right? So Peter, the great economist, right? The man with all the answers, right? You're very opinionated, and we all know that. So if you go to any basic inflation calculator in the 1970s, which came out your mouth, and you put the $10 in there, and you will see that it's $80. Today in 2024, it would be $80. Now, that would be a 709% of inflation over that much time, okay? From the 70s to right now. So here's a story. Has minimum wage kept up with inflation since it was implemented? No. And I know you can't stand minimum wage and you want to get rid of it. I've heard you say that on many podcasts. My personal belief is if you get rid of minimum wage and all the good jobs are gone, what's going to end up happening is people are going to be so hungry and so desperate they'll work for anything. And then they're going to live like peasants while the 1% sits on top with all the money. I don't find that right. I really don't find that right. But let's talk about something else too, all right? So your son went to get a haircut in Connecticut, tri-state area. You know how expensive this area is. Not all of us own a house in Puerto Rico, Connecticut, but you've admitted to this on your own podcast. I'm not doing no research on you. I'm just telling you what you say on your own podcast. Okay? You're not Puerto Rican. What are you doing in Puerto Rico? What are you doing over there? Saving a few dollars, because the Bible says those that have silver want more silver. It's never enough with you. It's a problem to pay the service providers $70. That's a problem? That you gotta come on Twitter and act like that? Well, guess what? There's service providers out here. What you gonna do when nobody's available to flip your burger at Shake Shack? What you gonna do when you want that coffee at Dunkin' Donuts? What you gonna do when good skilled tradesmen like myself are no longer available to cut your son's hair and make him look as handsome as possible? Now, there is an opportunity that perhaps the barbershop that you went to, that your wife took your child to, didn't provide the kind of service that levels up to 70. But I'm gonna be honest with you, cutting children's hair is no walk in the park. A lot of barbers won't even take children. They move too much, they're problematic. Not saying that your son is, let's get that clear. But I'm telling you right now, the patience level of dealing with children in a service industry situation, if it's not your kid, it's not cute. Let's put it that way, all right? So it's a labor of love for the community. because you got to put up with that. Now, I don't know. I would think that America's 1% lives in an expensive area in Connecticut, and things are more expensive there than they would be in other places, right? Right? So before you go on Twitter talking about barbershops and barbershop prices, remember, it took us a long time to get our trade down pat. It takes a lot of patience to deal with people, especially children. It requires special attention, right? And this is more geared towards all 1%ers, not just Peter. What's the problem? And I know what the problem is because you said it in the post. You said, in a Manhattan fancy salon. Who said that that person in the Manhattan salon, shout out to Manhattan, I keep in New York all day, but who said that that person in the Manhattan salon cuts better hair than that barbershop? Oh, is that the one that all your rich friends go to? The one that everybody talks about? Because if you're something, you go there? Is there some sort of snob appeal attached to that? Are those human beings better in that fancy salon than those barbers who are working that are servicing primarily just a gentleman's clientele? It's funny. It's funny how people pick and choose where their money gets spent. The mindset of America's most wealthy. You know, it's not going to be funny when, you know, the wages get so low that you can't afford a living. Now, do I think 80 is justifiable? Could be. Could be. I don't charge that in my shop, but I know people who do. And you can get an appointment, walk right in. There's a convenience associated with not being a walk-in. Those types of shops tend to be incredibly clean, incredibly into fine detail, personable. Yeah, bedside manner. Yes, it is something that you must pay for. Sometimes people are that good that they create the experience for you when you get something done in the service industry. So be very careful what you say. Be very careful. Because the reality is, you're in a blessed position. And if you keep yapping like that, which I do not want this to happen, you could get humbled. And the next thing you know, you'll be online to go to Supercuts, you know, and you could barely afford that. You've been blessed with great wealth. But being arrogant like that, God can humble you. Pride goes before a fall. So shout out to all of my service industry workers, whether you're cleaning dirty tables, cutting hair, or anything of the such, right? You know what you're worth. You're not a peasant. You should be more than happy to provide the best service possible. But you choose your prices, and this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Holding 99% of the wealth were upset about a $70 haircut, which with inflation is even less, 70. So $10, inflation calculator takes you to 80. So your own math that you love so much talking about inflation on your podcast proves to you that you're being petty, you know? And what you're actually doing is you're talking down barbers. You're talking down service industry people. So that I didn't like. That I didn't like. You're good at talking about precious metals. I don't mind your political talk, you know? But this is too much, kid. I can't roll with you on that one, Peter. I'm sorry. So nonetheless, guys, if you want to check out Peter, he has a YouTube channel. He has a Twitter. You can find him. He always debates people, or at least he became more known for debating people at the, what was it? I think it was when Wall Street shut down, and he was there with a microphone, and he was telling them, listen, I'm a 1%er. Ask me anything you want, you know? So you could check out those videos. You could be more acquainted with Peter. But that's my feelings, and I stand up straight up for the service industry.